www.projectmanagers.com, and in this edition of our video tutorials you're going to learn how to create a resource pool. A resource pool is basically a Microsoft project file that you can use to track all of your resources across multiple projects from one location. And to create a resource pool, simply you launch Microsoft Project, as I have done here. And by the way, when you open Microsoft Project, if you don't see the view bar on your left-hand side, you can always go to your menu option View and select View Bar, and then you'll see the different views that are available. Currently, this is the Gantt chart view that's open, and we'll be using the resource sheet as well as the resource usage views in a few minutes. So to create a resource pool, you open up an empty Microsoft Project file like this. Then you go to the resource sheet view and you type in your resource names, or you can import your resources from another file, cut and paste them from another file, whatever is easier for you. On projects in the past, I've imported them from time tracking systems, etc. So whatever is best for you. So you can type in the resource name, or import them. Whichever is easier. And once you've typed in the resource names, and you can also, as you may notice here, you can add what they cost you, their standard rate, their overtime rate. You can insert by selecting the column and right-clicking on it. You can insert another column. And let's say, in Microsoft Project, there are a number of columns that you can insert. This is a database, and these are attributes within the database. You can be very creative in terms of how you use this. I'm going to type the letter T. It's going to go down to the text section, and I'm going to type in the word skill in the title. So I'm inserting a text field with the title that I'm calling skill. I'm going to put that in there just in case I want to keep track of what skills these people have. Okay, so this is a project manager, and this is a senior application. Let's say, let me move my mouse out of the way. This person's a senior .NET application developer. Okay. You can be creative in terms of what you do and how you work with your resources. If there's anything you don't want to have in your resource sheet, you can always remove it by right-clicking and selecting Hide Column. You can use columns for things like let's say this resource is with the PMO, and this person's with app dev. You can add whatever details you need. Once you've built your resources, then you'll save the resource file. Now I've already saved one, so let me just close this. And I'm not going to save the changes. So this is the one that I already created. Okay, I have a bunch of resources here. Once you've filled your resource pool and you save it, you can call it resource pool when you save the Microsoft Project file. You can give it any name you want, but I recommend naming your file, your resource pool, as resource pool, or prefixed or appended as with the term resource pool after it or before it. So once it's saved, as I've already done here, then you'll open up your project file. Okay, and basically what you'll do is you'll insert your resources. You'll connect your resource pool to the project file. Actually, I'm going to close this because I was working with this file and I want to open it up so you can see how you actually add a resource pool to a file. So what you do is you go to the menu option Tools, and you select Tools, and you select Resource Sharing from the menu option Tools, and then you select Share Resources. Now because I have my MPP file called Resource Pool open, I'll see that listed here. If I had other Microsoft Project files, I would see them listed here as well. But I'm going to use my resource pool as my source for resources, and the resource pool is going to take precedence over the resources that might be typed in this project file. And then I click on OK. Once I've done that, the resource pool is now linked to this project file, and this project file will have all your tasks in it. And what will happen now is when you go to the resource column, as we're in right now, and select the drop-down list box, you'll see the resources that you've defined in your resource pool. And it's just like adding resources as you would by just typing them in and saving them locally in the project schedule, except from the resource pool, they're already there for you to add. Okay, so it's reading from the resource pool. And now, once I add all my resources to my project schedule, let's say I have another schedule that I want to add resources to. So let's select project 2. So project 2 is open. I'm going to go to Tools, select Resource Sharing, Share Resources. I'm going to use this MPP file, which is open, the resource pool file. Click on OK. And I'm going to add resources to this project as well. And you can add as many resources to a task as you need to, as you know. Make this a little bit wider. Just for speed's sake, I'm just going to select one name to illustrate what I'm doing here. So now I have 2 project files that I've added resources to. One is called Project 2, and the other is called Project 1. And I've added resources from the resource pool in these project schedules. So now when I go to the resource pool file, if I select Resource Usage View, then I'll be able to see the resources. Here are their names right here. And I'll be able to see if I had given my task names. So if you had noticed in my project schedules that I'm using here, these are just empty templates. So the tasks don't say anything like in configure software, or it doesn't say specifically what they're doing, so that it just says add your task. But if you have defined your project schedule, when you go into your resource usage view, you'll see the specific tasks that each resource is assigned. Okay? So for example, with this resource, Sarah Little, you'll see all of her tasks, how many hours she's working. And you can scroll through and see when she's available. If she's working an 8-hour day and if that's normal and acceptable, then you can see when she's busy and when she's not. So then you'll know whether or not you can allocate her for other things. And when you're working with multiple projects, basically you'll need to make sure that your tasks aren't too generic, because if you want to be able to see exactly what that person is working on, one thing you can do is you can insert the task column if you want to see. Oops, I'm sorry, this put in the resource name. I selected name and it put in the resource name, which is not what I meant to do. I think it's called work. Let me just double check. Hold on. All right, actually work is hours, so that's not what I want to do. Hold on, let me, task summary name. Okay, I'm going to come back to that. I'll put task summary name in there right now. But right now, these are the tasks, these are the areas that these tasks are associated with, the summary level items. The summary level items are the bold named items. And if I had given these names, specific names, okay, let me give one specific name. So we'll say configure squid server. Okay, and that was assigned to Christine. Okay, so now this is called Project 1. And if I go to the resource pool and I go to Christine, who's right here, I can see she's assigned to configure the resource pool. And let me select project, and you can see that for the project schedule called example project 1, she's assigned a task, and if we go back to project schedule 1, she's doing this for 6 days, so that's why it says 48 hours of work on the resource pool. So she's configuring this grid server and she's doing that for 6 days. So when we go back to the resource pool, we can see she's got 48 hours of work. From the project schedule, when you look at it closely, you can see she's doing this from December 19th through December 26th. So if we go back to the resource pool, and I back up, actually I'm going to right click on the timeline, and in the bottom tier I'm going to format it so it shows the day and the date. That way I can know where I am. Okay, so let's see, what were those dates that I just said? Okay, December 19th. So if I go back to the resource pool, on December 19th, which is a Wednesday, she's doing this task for 6 days, so it goes out through the following week. And then you can see she's available on the 27th, okay, and some days after. So as a project manager, you'll be able to see who's free, whose schedule is full, who's over allocated. It's very easy to track resources and track what they're costing you. You know, again, you can go to the resource sheet and define what their rates are. But that's how you create a resource pool. Okay, so again, a resource pool is a Microsoft project file that you only put the resources in, and that's it, and then you save it. And once it's saved, then you can go to the tools bar and assign it to a project schedule by selecting Share Resources. And then once you have that, you select the resources that are assigned to a project. And that's it for how to create a resource pool in Microsoft Project. If you have any questions, feel free to send me an email, Dora Tarver, D-O-R-A, T as in Tom, A-R, V as in Victory, E-R, at E as in Edward, dash projectmanagers with an S.com. Thank you for your time and have an excellent day.